Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Raw Food Health Empowerment Summit. My name is Samantha Salmon, integrative nutrition coach and co-host of the Raw Food Health Empowerment podcast. And I am delighted right now to be speaking with the owners of Blend of Soul. Blend of Soul is all about healthy food, fresh cold pressed juices, and encouraging their community to live a healthier lifestyle with a little taste of soul. They pride themselves in using all natural ingredients, tasty flavors, and a unique blend of soul in everything that they create. Soul is in their roots. It brings people together and they strive to better their community by providing healthy yet fun, soulful alternatives through their delicious juices. Thank you so much, Margot and Key, for being here.
We're so glad to be here.
Awesome. So tell me about Blend of Soul. What inspired you both to start a juice bar? Out of all the businesses you could start, like, why a juice bar?
Well, so I am prior military. Mm-hmm. So I was trying to, just trying to stay fit. It's very hard when you're on the go. And I asked Kiera one summer, I asked her for a juicer. So I was like, hey, do you mind giving me a juicer? And I know they're super expensive, but, that's what I want for my birthday. You asked, so I'm going to tell you. And I got this like expensive juicer. And we started juicing and I started bringing them to work. Mm-hmm. And people started to like them, or, people inquired about purchasing them. I was like, well, I don't sell these. I just do it for fun. And then when we were in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, at a food hall, we were looking for some healthy options, and we didn't find any healthy options. And we were like, you know what? We could start something here, like with the juicing, and then like not a lot of healthy options, like in that area at the time. And that's how it really got started. We were going down, I think, Interstate 40, I-40, and we were listening to Boss by B and J off the Carter's album. And and from there it's history, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since.
Yeah, we love it. It's been really, really inspiring, and really too, to add on to what she was saying, we really wanted to create healthy options for our community. Yes. That is a big thing. As a nurse, I'm a nurse at Duke, and as a nurse, I know how important and it is to your diet and the healthy lifestyle you instill within yourself is important to your health. So I also wanted to make sure that customers as well as just our community is aware on all of that. There are healthy options in our community, you just have to find it. And so we didn't want people to worry so much about the cost. And, because that is the biggest thing that, and even for myself, that that we talk about with health and finding healthy foods. And so for us, we wanted to focus more on creating we call it our soul space, creating a soul space for our community to feel welcome and loved and open to, trying something new. And now it's been a big thing. So we're super excited.
Yeah. And I'm excited for you because, first of all, you don't really see too many business owners that look like yourself in this space doing this thing. And with the passion that you have for the community too, it's just amazing. I just love it so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. So you just saw a clip of what's to come from the Raw Food Health Empowerment Summit. Definitely go right now and make sure to register at rawfoodhealthempowermentsummit.com. And we just heard from the dynamic duo of Blend of Soul. I love this episode so much. These two women were so much fun to interview. What are your thoughts, Ma? What did you think watching the clip?
I find them pretty interesting, and I like their relationship. And I like the fact, I love to see sisters get together, Black sisters especially, and sisterhood, whether you're Black, you're white, Chinese, other. I love to see the sisterhood. I love to see women get together and do things and make things happen. Mm-hmm. I love that about them.
Yeah. I remember you had mentioned something about the fact that one of them mentioned that she's a nurse.
Yes.
So, and we had a really interesting conversation about it. I took a couple notes. You were saying, you know, that you were inspired by this conversation because you really see how nurses can make a difference. And so
Yes.
I was curious, you know, you've interacted with many nurses, you know, dealing with grandma situation, especially. That was like decades long of just dealing with the medical system. I want to know from your perspective, what opportunities did you see or can you remember that nurses would have had to mention a book, maybe like Dr. Niels Barnard for Dr. Niels Barnard book, his program for reversing type 2 diabetes, or even this new book that's out, Mastering Diabetes by Cyrus Kambata and Robbie Barbaro. Like, what opportunities did you see for even something as simple as mentioning a book?
You know, I have a lot of friends who are nurses, and I mean, and they wrote, I have friends that wrote books, nurses that write books. And what I would love to see is one of my friends, because I have a lot of friends who are nurses, or I think I should say associate also, because it's into that group. I would love to see one day they write a book about health, nutritional health, because they're very intelligent in their field. They can communicate with you in a very way, in the medical way that you can really understand what they're saying. They're very good nurses, because I have one that used to, a friend of mine, very good friend, that used to help me with mom, and she know her job. Now I'd love to see one of my friends know about nutritional health as much as they know about medical health. That would really touch my heart. Because one of my friend who is a nurse, her husband was sick. I will not call her name, but her husband was sick. And as much as she know about the medical health and she believe in, you know, the medication and stuff like that, she still leaned to herbs for the cure for her husband. As a matter of fact, before you guys get me started on the juicing, she was the one who got me started on the juicing. And she begged me, she says, I want you and your husband to continue drinking the juicing because it ward off cancer. I remember that very, very well. So I think if they study nutrition as much as they studied the medical, you know, their medical form of nursing, I think it would help people a lot. Yeah. Because nurses to me, nurses, I'm not knocking the doctors, they're wonderful, but nurses touches the life of people more than doctors. I am a living witness. When I go to the hospital, the warmest touch that I get is from the nurses. And remember in my experience at the hospital, when the nurse tried to give me the medicine, I said, what is that? I said, I can't take it unless I know what it is. And when she told me, I said, I refuse to take it. And the nurse bent down and whispered in my ears, I understand you. And I could tell you that that nurse has some knowledge of nutrition. She says, I do understand you. She never forced it on me.
That part is so critical for like anybody in the medical system to have that kind of empathy and understanding, to be a partner instead of taking away people's agency. Because that, you know, you always use the term the human condition. As an adult, like as children, we wait so long to become adults, to be in control of our lives. You know, we want the freedom to make our own decisions. And so when we become adults, we want to make our own decisions, right? We don't want to be someone else to tell us what to do and to think for us and think we should want something, like something, and should have a certain type of experience. We want to make those decisions for ourselves. So when someone says, I understand, she didn't say, I agree, and she don't have to agree because it's not her body. But her role is to be a partner in helping you find the solution to why you came to the hospital, right? Instead of being antagonistic. So I like that story, what you mentioned. And a critical point that you also brought up is your nurse friends writing books, right? And they're not writing on nutrition, thank God, because they don't know it. I would hate for them to write books telling people to eat stuff that actually kills especially our community, and leads to chronic disease. So this is where I find, like, Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. And I'm going to bring this up because this actually is breaking news that was just released. Right now, this is a medical school, not a nursing school. But the thing is, nutritionists aren't necessarily given the right information on plant nutrition in particular because of who is funding them. Right.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, for example, I talk about a lot when people ask me about my story and how I got into this, about the fact that we followed literally everything the American Diabetes Association said to do. The nutritionist, dietitian, whoever you talk to, basically was following their recommendations and told you grandma could continue eating chicken. She could continue having bread and drink orange juice, and when you pasteurize juice, it's basically just sugar. You've killed
It is sugar.
all the
It is
enzymes. Yeah, you've killed all the enzymes.
That's why I don't drink it.
Exactly. If you're gonna drink orange juice, you better fresh press squeeze it yourself. But so, and this is what they tell people, and yes, that works to make sure that with the medications she's consuming, everything is working together to keep her type 2 diabetic, right? But if she were to eat differently, she could reverse it. If given those two options, I'm pretty sure grandma would have chose to reverse as opposed to maintain, right?
Yeah.
I hear people talk a lot right now about manage your diabetes. Why would you want to manage something that you could reverse?
Yeah.
At least give people the option. So I wanted to mention here, first mandatory Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine just sent this out September 23rd. First mandatory plant-based nutrition curriculum for medical students, a mandatory plant-based nutrition curriculum at Wayne State University School of Medicine, educated medical students and clinicians on treating diet-related disease as described in the International Journal of Disease Reversal and Prevention. The curriculum, titled Rooting for Wellness, consisted of nutrition education panels, cooking demonstrations, guest lectures, journal clubs, and a vegan kickstart program. These programs were designed to expose students to clinical applications of plant-based nutrition. The commentary provides advice and recommendations for programming and resources, including the Physicians Committee's Nutrition Guide for Clinicians, reference manual, and lunch and learn opportunities to implementing similar programming in other medical school curricula. And I'm super excited about this because doctors are given at most in one school 2 weeks of nutrition knowledge, right? And we know in our community, if you're wearing a white lab coat, you hold a lot of weight. If you don't have that PhD, and if you're not wearing the coat now, you can have the PhD, but if you need to have the coat on, you understand, for people to listen to you and believe you. So we need these people to be educated. 2 weeks out of 8 years of school is just not sufficient. And that's
Can
I
say something right there? You know what that reminds me of?
What?
When I was in beauty school, doing my cosmetologist course. Okay, so it was 9 months. But I'm a Black person, and all the Black people get was 6 weeks out of 9 months worth of training. I said training because I do my education after I leave school. Training how to do Black hair, which I had done Black hair for 40 something years and I only got 6 weeks of training out of 9 months. That is what is so ridiculous. So my whole time of doing hair for the past 23 years out of the 40 something years, I was doing my education on Black hair.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, this thing that you're talking about too is big talk right now, because they talking about this, how there's racism in the hair care industry, because exactly what you're saying. Jada Pinkett Smith and her daughter, you know, were on the Red Table Talk talking about how in the Nutty Professor, Jada had on the worst wig ever because of just cultural incompetencies. You know, Willow doing high shoot fashion shows and, you know, people making her feel ugly, disgusting, just because her hair is unmanageable to them, you know. And I'm not a celebrity who needs to be on TV and be seen. And I've had personally those types of situations. So from Black people, from Black hair care providers. And so, yes, you know, what you're saying is just.
One day we have to do a podcast on that, because that's
Yeah.
a whole different world all by itself.
Yeah. It's like we need some balance. And with this, you know, when we talk about the health and food, we have so many research studies that show that whole food vegan diets are more do more to manage and reverse our top 7 of the top 10 chronic disease killers in this country. They are more useful or more powerful, more potent than even the medicinal pharmaceutical drugs, right? So if they're more powerful than the drugs, you know, you're in school for 8 years to be a doctor, you know,
But
it just makes sense to do more than 2 weeks.
Can I say something there?
Yeah.
The reason why they're more powerful than the drugs, they use that same herbs to make the drugs, but they add chemicals in there.
So they could patent
It's the same herbs. So if you can get the same herbs before you get to that drugs, you'll be better off.
You know what? I want to bring in this thing here. This book I told you about, which I took the cover off. Wait, yeah, here we go. Fiber Fueled by Will Bulsiewicz. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He's a gastroenterologist. Okay. And he says in his book that, you know how we talk about the human body, how we have the microbiome, right? Which is basically the bacteria, helpful bacteria that helps our immune system stay strong. It helps our brain function. You know, it does all sorts of things, right? To keep us healthy. Fruits and vegetables, plants also have a microbiome. They have bacteria that helps to basically help it manifest, right? It goes from plant to whatever the thing is, the fruit or whatever. Like, let's say an apple has like, I think it's like 1 million or 100 million something, which is vastly different, but I can't remember the amount of bacteria that's on it and in it, right? And so we are eating this microbiome that's on this fruit, let's say the apple or whatever, and it is interacting with our own microbiome. And the beautiful thing about this is that we are so connected to nature. We are nature, you know, and so this is our natural food. This is how our body is meant to function. Like, that bacteria feeds with our bacteria, which actually helps us thrive, you know.
It's ironic and it's kind of funny that you come up with that, because I was reading this morning about the trees. When you see a cluster of tree, they're feeding together. Like you have to be careful when you even walk barefoot where you're going to where a lot of trees are, because there's fungus there. They create fungus for each other and they feed off to that. So the trees do better when they are together, when they're not alone. If you notice, when you go into the forest and you see a lot of trees, they are beautiful and they do good because they're feeding each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the nature has messages for us.
and it sends a message though.
Yeah.
This is why we as human beings, we don't stand alone. We stand together, because we're supposed to feed each other with the proper information, the proper food, the proper nutrient, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You help me, I help you. We don't stand alone.
Right. Which is why you need to register today for the Raw Food Health Empowerment Summit. Okay. Hello. So go to rafudhealthempowermentsummit.com. The link is right below this video. And so speaking about nurses too, we talked about, the education that the physicians committee said is in the medical school now. Nurses, this needs to be in the nursing school. It needs to be a requirement in order for you to get your LPN, your RN, whatever, all those acronyms, right? Critical care nurses across the country have reported high levels of stress, depression, and anxiety. And this was even before the onset of the pandemic, which correlates with the increase in self-reported medical errors, according to a study of American critical care nurses. So with that being said, I think other than educating nurses, which is super important, right?
Very important.
We need to support nurses, not just on nutrition education, but other self-care, because it had me thinking, like, if you are having medical errors because you're run down and burnt out, right? It impacts everybody, right? So with the pandemic, right now that's still happening, going on. The fatigue and burnout is even a bigger issue for nurses nationwide. Many have left the profession or are considering it because of the tough physical and emotional toll. So I would love, like, this is on the plan, on the docket, to really dig into this a little more on a future episode as to how we can holistically support nurses, right? So they need the plant-based nutrition, but they also need the self-care support. And I feel like just telling nurses to practice self-care seems a little flippant. It doesn't, I feel like it wouldn't do it justice, because I feel like the system in which they work in is probably the main reason why the burnout exists,
And they work so hard.
Yeah.
They work very hard. I spoke to quite a few of them, and they will complain to me and tell me they don't even get time to eat. And God bless what they eat, because they're not having the proper nutrition either.
We need to fix the food in the hospitals.
And it helped the brain function, because if you're not eating the right food, your brain don't function well. Yes.
We need to fix the food in the hospitals and at least have the options. Shout out to Hayek Hospital in Lebanon that went vegan.
I saw that.
All the hospitals need to be doing this, because just the research, the scientific research. There's so much talk right now on this science thing. Do you believe in science? Around this whole vaccine conversation. Do you people anti-science people? And I want to speak to the masses on this. If you believe in science, right, all our institutions need to, at the bare minimum, have whole food vegan options, right? Options. I'm talking about all hospitals. I'm talking about all schools. I'm talking about prison systems. People don't like to mention the prison system. We actually have a guest, Nuru, on the summit, a guest speaker, talking about how he found veganism, raw foodism, and herbalism in prison.
What?
Yes, his story is mind-blowing. And you have someone like that who is learning this stuff, and it changes when the foods that you eat. First of all, like, I don't know why or how, he got into prison, all that. None of that is my business, right? Because if we believe that the prison system is for rehabilitation, then you come out anew, you come out refreshed, you come out reborn, right? This is what we have decided, or what we should be deciding as a society. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense, right? You put people in and you have them come out with the expectation that they would become better citizens, right? So there needs to be a rehabilitation mindset. You can't have a rehabilitation mindset with food that actually causes ADHD, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, all of these types of, if it will cause all of these intense mental disorders. Just imagine the low level behavioral disorders, which we have so many scientific research that backs that food affects mood, food affects behavior, which is why it's so important for us to have healthy foods in schools and also have them in the prison system. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want these people getting sick and getting type 2 diabetes. I mean, right now, first of all, the prison system is really messed up on so many levels, because people go in, they're used as labor. There's nothing regenerative. They come out, then you have people who can't vote, who are stuck in poverty. You know what I'm saying? So there's like, it's just this, it's almost like a caste system. Like we have endorsed slavery as long as it's, you know, the prisoners, the people, you know what I'm saying? And this is legit, like on the books, you know, slavery. But we need to, I just feel like hopefully with the summit, you know, you see all the different areas of opportunity where we as health conscious people can roll up our sleeves and get to work, because there's so many areas in our globe, you know, in where we are, where we work, where we can make a difference, because it affects everything. It affects everything, and it affects all of us, you know.
Yes.
The nutrition education affects all of us. And I think we've pretty much done a good job today of showing how you, even if you're in your little corner doing well, eating well, and being healthy and stuff, you know, if you're walking into a hospital and the person catering to you is not on that same page, you're talking about medical errors, you're talking about, you know, all sorts of things.
Yeah, and then you can share your information that you have to with people. Like, you know, people will come up to you and they says, "Oh man, your skin looks so beautiful." It's an open door for a conversation. You know, you're not going to tell them that you use Estee Lauder, because that don't make your skin look good. That only cover up your skin. But then it's an open door, you know, like you can start, you know, like the, I think these two nurses were talking about.
I think only one of them is a nurse. The other one was in the army.
Okay.
That's what I remember. Right. Yeah.
But one of them had beautiful skin. She did say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they both have great skin.
Okay. Now I get compliment on my skin all the time. Thank you, Jesus. I'm humbled by that. But I contributed to the years of using lemon every morning by drinking warm lemon water, fresh lemon, not lemon juice, the fresh lemon every morning. And it's not just my face, but my entire body, my skin. Yeah. So when people compliment
when you say so you drink it and it affects your whole body, but you're not putting it on topically.
No. It cleansing, it purges
from the inside. Yeah.
Right. So when somebody pay you a compliment about, it's an open door to start talk about nutrition. And it lead from one thing to the next, because it's not just the lemon that you put into your body, what goes in after the lemon. You know, it's like somebody gonna tell you, "Oh, I just had some chicken and I drink some warm lemon water." Yeah, but you had the chicken.
Right.
What is that chicken doing to the inside of your body? You know, it forms mucus, it forms other things. And that's another thing too, because when you come on to mucus, there are certain food that create it. So even when you drink the lemon in the morning, it washes away that mucus from your system. This way you can bring in your fruits and your vegetable or whatever you want, you know? Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, make sure to register for the summit, the Raw Food Health Empowerment Summit.com. The link is going to be below. And thank you so much. It's going to be really an amazing event with diverse perspectives, diverse experiences. And that was really the whole goal, is to show that there are health conscious people out here that look just like you. That are in situations similar to yours, or probably even worse off. And they are finding a way to make a way, because when there's a will, there is a way. So the first start is basically making a decision. And once you decide that you want to live, right? That's really the main first decision, that you want to live, and you don't just want to survive, but you want to thrive. then
Yeah.
this is the place to be, to connect with like-minded people. So
Yes.
go to
And
the
God give us all the tools that we're supposed to use to make life healthy. He give us everything. 'Cause
everything.
in his creation, he created the first.
Mm-hmm.
He created the plants. He created everything first.
Yeah.
The plants that in those days they used to use as medicine. They didn't have a pharmacy. The pharmacy was out in the garden.
That's
So
right.
yes.
That's right. So go to rawfoodhealthempowermentsummit.com, and I can't wait to see you there.